Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Count MRVHS with our fourth episode of our Fourth Age campaign as the Chiefdom of North Rhun, and we have just seen the fall of the settlement of Esgaroth. This was a settlement we had under siege for a little while. We had sacked it earlier as our horde was moving through, and that spawned essentially a rebel army there, which we just put under siege for a few turns, and they just starved out, essentially. So nothing too exciting happening there. Now we have to determine whether we're going to occupy it, expel the populace, which would move 300 people to other provinces that have governors, or lay desolate. And there's not a lot of money to be had here by laying desolate. And I think the people are a little more important. Now, every single one of our provinces has a governor currently. So in other words, these 300 people in Esgaroth are going to be distributed among all the settlements that we own. Erebor, City of Dale, Eodor, which we got in the last episode, and Beraz Doom. And I think they may be redistributed into Esgaroth itself. Possibly not. I'm not sure how that works, because we got a governor in here too. So let's just click that button, and we'll see what it actually looks like here. So I think, yes, we can lower the taxes, and we should be just fine. Oh, no, we're not just fine. 65% is pretty bad, actually. It's close. It's close to workable. But it is not. So what do we need to do here? Well, I think the first thing is just to get our provincial pacification going. And let's see. Oh, that's right. We lost all of our horde. Okay. It's very confusing, because when you're there in the in the sack or occupy or whatever stage, it doesn't show you what horde guys you got left, or it shows you that you've got a sort of a full stack of horde units. And they're all gone now. It's only the governor. So that makes a lot more sense as to why we're dealing with massive unrest. 80%, and we're only getting a 45% public order bonus from the generals there. We do have some units in Dale. You can see now we're extremely vulnerable. I think all of our horde units are now gone. Yeah, so we got no more free upkeep units, and our economy is, just okay. Fortunately, we've got a lot of cash from the dwarven hordes, but we're going to have to move some stuff down here. So let's take maybe the least useful unit, 77 axemen. That gets us yellow. Okay, perfect. And we're going to be training more stuff, and this is where we're going to need these barding militia levies. They're not great in terms of cost effectiveness. In fact, our axemen of Rhun are cheaper, I think, man for man, but barding militia levies are what we can train. So let's queue up like 3 or 4 of them. And we're just going to have them as garrison duty for the most part. So war between Khand and Harad, that's really nothing that really concerns us. The thing that does concern us, of course, is this. Eodor is besieged by the Kingdom of Dale. This is a province that we just recently conquered, and it did have more units in it, I think, in the last episode. I can't remember if we still had the Horde guys back then. But just for future reference, yes, we've got now 5 settlements and no more horde. So what we're going to want to do here is, I think, counterattack immediately and take on this stack. So let's group up everybody and do a sally attack. Now we can get a closer look. We are basically even. They have 2 more men than we do, but a lot of it, yeah, they've got 2 archers, which are certainly the biggest problem. Otherwise, it's entirely barding militia. So I think we'll be just fine. And we want to sally on this turn because, as you can see, it is winter. All of our native units as North Rhun are going to get that combat bonus in the snow, which is, of course, wonderful. And this is something that is going to dictate some of the terms of our expansion as we continue over the next few episodes here. The goal, remember, is to establish not only a nice little enclave in the north and, get our home territory back and meet our victory conditions, but we want to try to limit our expansion to the snowy territories. So it's winter currently, and we can see just how far south we can conquer and still get the benefit of that combat bonus in the snow. And as you'll see, it's quite an extensive territory, actually. So where are they? Okay, they're not down there, are they? Oh, they're on the hill. What a bunch of jerks. They're on the hill. Well, I guess that makes sense. What we can do, though, this is going to be a long and kind of a tedious battle in some ways. But yeah, I think this makes sense. We'll be at the gate here, and we will just try to get around them. Actually, I guess we have to go on the other side, because we can get on this hill, right, and be uphill or equal to them. And then, whereas if we come from this direction, you can see there's still an uphill slope here. So they're just going to park about here, and we want to be coming from this direction. So let's just get these guys arranged, and we'll fast forward to when that battle actually occurs. Well, as you can see, I way overthought this, because rather than being way up high on the hill, as soon as we started the battle, Dale repositioned themselves very obligingly on this nice little flat part of the battle map. They went over into this corner. And so we just walked basically around the city, and we're going to form up in a nice little row here. So the combat bonus in the snow, what is this good for? Well, it's basically a melee combat bonus only. So we're not going to get any advantages to our slingers, to our bowmen, or skirmishers, anything like that. But it will make us tougher in melee. So while we will be doing a fair amount of skirmishing in this particular battle, when it does come into actual melee, we will have a bit of an advantage there. So we've got our skirmish guys up front. We've got a couple of slingers, the longbowmen mercenaries. We've got the Easterling skirmishers as well. And the goal with this is just to soak up some arrows, I guess, with the shielded guys, and do some damage with the longbows. We don't have a lot of men in terms of melee. We've got 3 infantry melee units. We got a decent amount of cav. But another concern for this battle is that we have a lot of old generals, and they are going to potentially be a liability in combat. So let's get the war cry going. Let's get our generals, up here, ready to throw some javelins anyway. All right, good. And actually, let's go ahead and hit that Barding militia. No, they're gonna withdraw. Okay, so we pull back then. That's what we do. You guys have war cried, but you're gonna withdraw. All right, and we're gonna get some nice easy shots in the back. I think they are going to be able to hit us for a little while, but we'll just whittle down this infantry, and then we'll reassemble the lines. Yeah, perfect. That should be fine. They're going to do the same kind of thing. They get 1.5 units of longbows here. Let's get our slingers up so we can actually engage them. And I'd like to eliminate these units first, because the militia will crumble, and we can even take out their cav pretty easily. Alright, so that's pretty good. We're going to be switching targets over to the militia pretty soon. And I imagine their cav is going to come looking. Let's actually get our light lancer cav up on the hill. These are the guys I want to charge down in when their general approaches. Alright, let's get another war cry going, even though we're not going to use it because they're going to stop and turn around. And we're going to sling him in the back. So this is the tactic here. And again, I wouldn't sort of let this go, but this is the way sallies tend to work. The AI sets up on the hill. They tend to have a fairly lackluster skirmish phase where they probe your lines, they push your archers back, and then they withdraw, and that leaves them, of course, horribly exposed to your missiles. This is the singular largest flaw in the battle AI, of course, for the original Rome Total War, is this type of behavior. Other than that, the engine, the way that the units have collision, the way that they model the combats, I prefer it here to the more recent Total War games. But this behavior of back and forth, sometimes is a little annoying. All right. And we're just trying to get some free kills with our javelins on these militia units. Yep, and they're going to rout. Great. Let's actually see if we can get those longbowmen to rout, because that would be nice. We're actually quite a ways away from the line, so we might be able to push all these guys away. Since these are militia, and they're going to be... I don't know, I feel like we're going to have a bit of an advantage to them. Okay, so, yeah, let's go ahead. Let's engage there. It feels a little risky. This is an old general, but honestly, we could use some new blood, right? We've got more generals than we need, I guess. They do represent some of our strongest military at this point. can we get a mass route here? Yes, we can. All right, so let's spread that over here. They're shaken. They got a bunch of routing friends. There they go. And the militia, I'm not too worried about, right? Like, I'm not going to stick my neck out too much to get all of these guys, but if we can, I guess that's good. It's important that we took out those longbows. So let's move them down here, speed up a bit. Okay, yes. They're off the corner of the map, though, unfortunately. Great. So actually, let's end the battle here. There's really no point in chasing down those guys. We may have actually eliminated that whole stack because they didn't have a family member. We eliminated I think it's higher than 85%. So that should be good. And the Dale is, going to be a lot weaker now. They've got about half a stack here still in burn, and this is where their good troops are. So I'm glad they didn't have them heading up. But we are vulnerable, right? I mean, that's the thing. We can't train anything here in Eodor. Let's get an emissary just to prevent bribery and get our spy a little bit closer. So Dale currently has, yes, their ruler. Very dangerous unit. He looks like he's fairly young as well. We've also got a unit of Black Spears and hosting halls where they can train more of them, including Longbowmen of Dale and Riders of Dale, which are more of a medium/heavy cavalry unit. So mail armored, stronger than what we have. So we'll have to be careful when engaging them. And we're still a very long way off before we can train anything out of these dwarf holds. And all we're training now is barding militia levies out of Dale. But we're going to be rectifying that over the next few turns, hopefully. Yes, one other thing that happened in between episodes that I didn't show is the elimination of Far Harad as a faction. And that's obviously very far off of our radar, but it looks like we're going to encounter a new faction elimination. So let's see what this is. The Elves and Ravanian. Okay, so that means Ravanian's been wiped out. Okay. Yes, so when we see this change in loyalties, these are alliances being broken by the script that we just activated. And so every alliance that the eliminated faction had is now being broken. And you can see Ravanian shows up in all of these. And then we're also seeing the wars end between the eliminated faction and all of the people they were at war with. But Dorwinian is now at war with the Bjornings. All right, this is very interesting. This is shaping up to be a really interesting campaign. Usually, of course, Dale is the dominant faction in this part of Middle-earth. The Easterlings can get very strong, right? Rhun can come into Ravanian and take them out. But usually it's a bit later, and Dale ends up winning. Here, because we have basically given Dorwinian a really nice starting point and eliminated Dale, essentially, as a threat, Dorwinian has been going absolutely nuts. So they own Western Ravanian. I think, yeah, they now own Southern Ravanian. Wow, okay. We can actually move down here because I want to update that. Yes, there's Lithmore Chant. Wow. So they get a lot of peasant types for some reason. There must have been a revolt here. They've got Ravanian Axemen, they've got Ravanian Foresters, Ravanian Spears, and their Scouts. So this will be a really interesting little war that's probably going to break out between us fairly soon here. But that's why we want to keep that bit of distance between us and Dorwinian. And so Burn, I don't think we're strong enough to push for it yet, so we'll let it wait. So Ravanian's been eliminated, Far Harad's been eliminated. This game has been going a lot faster in that regard than some others that I've seen. Okay, great. Erebor, Outland Dominion is done, and City of Dale mustering fields are done. So we'll see. That'll give us some new options. Yes, okay, barding watch levies, so swordsmen. So these might be... They're cheaper by a little bit. They don't have any abilities, but they've got better attack, better defense. And, it might be worth... Actually, do they have the same number of men? No, they got fewer men. So I think the militia levies are still going to be best for garrison. But yeah, let's keep that, and let's add a couple more of the swords. So we're always just going to have those guys coming out. Now, let's see. We could go right to hosting halls, and that'll get us our own native recruitment stuff. So we can get our Tier 1 Mountain War Band, Easterling Skirmishes, but importantly, the Chief's Men. So here we're going to see a nice cav unit. So they've got spears, shields, good armor. clubs as a secondary melee weapon. So that'll be nice and really important, I think, because we're going to need something that has a bit more oomph to it when we start to field armies against these larger Northmen factions, because they don't have fantastic stuff, but they've got a lot, right? They've got a lot of territory, and we're going to need something to level the field. So with that, let's see what else. Do we want to go to hosting halls right away, or do we want to spend our money throwing it at Western Wilderland? That is going to cost us about 9,000. We've got the money for it. I think we have to. And then City of Dale, yeah, I think we've got to spend another 8 grand right there so that we can train really good stuff. So it's very we're throwing a lot of more money around than I usually like to at this point in the campaign. 16 seasons before we'll be able to even start training men in Barra's Doom. And let's check on the population. Okay, that's still pretty good, under 2,000. Hopefully we'll have a decent pool there when the time comes. 3 seasons for Outland Dominion here, and then 1 more season there. Okay. So yes, I think we just keep ending the turns. And gosh, look at Dorwinion though. That, just looking at that on the mini map, that is a really intimidating chunk of territory they have. I'll need to check their diplomacy again. Okay, but yes, now it's winter. And so I did want to illustrate the kind of empire we can expect, right? So we'll have to see, of course, how the Bjornings fare against Dorwinion. But we could take basically everything down to the narrows of the forest. That's going to include Thrimfeld, which is a settlement down here in the East Bight. That's going to include, I think it's Holt down here, which is currently under siege by Dorwinion. And they've only got 3 men there, so Dorwinion's probably going to take it. And then, then we will be sharing a border. Okay, that could be a bit of a problem. Regardless, we can take these 2. We could take Elven King's Halls. We're trading with them now, so I think I want to leave that for later. But definitely Hjorth, of course, Framsburg. We ignore these rebels in the holds, at least for now. And then we can come down. There's a settlement right about here. Yes, you can see where that blue marker is. That's the marker for the settlement of Oldford, which is the Bjorning capital initially. And this, I think, has the potential to be really wealthy. The other nice thing is it offers a path through the forest, and that can get us all the way over here to link up our territory without having to go the long way around or kind of through Elven territory. So Oldford is going to be a good grab, but I think I want to take it only when I can hold this, which we may want to think about. Well, not too much we can do about that until we get all of our armies together. So to that end, okay, we're making 5,000 actually. That's pretty good. Let's go ahead and let's see. Repair is still really expensive here. So if you're ever looking at these numbers and you're like, okay, to repair these buildings, 26,000 seems high. That is, you're not wrong. That is high, and it's because we have not established our dominion here yet. So we need to do that first. So let's go ahead and queue that up. That alone is going to make us almost 1,200 in land tax. So 7 turns, we're going to be increasing that. And what about down here? Yeah, a few more turns. What is this going to actually look like in terms of money? All right, 691, pretty respectable. So it's going to be about 600 or so when all is said and done, when we factor in the corruption that's going to come from that. But I guess, again, we just keep going. So the plan will be to sort of expand to the safe places, which I'm thinking Hjorth is going to be my next target. But actually, yeah, that Bjorning realm, this is going to be my weak point. Dale, I feel like I can manage with what I've got here, and they're going to continue to hold the crossings for me, so Dorwinion's not going to bust in. Unless Dorwinion goes to war with Dale, right? And then I've got to really be concerned. But this, yeah, 6 turns. If I could ally with the Bjornings temporarily, that might be worth doing. So let's check the diplomacy. Dorwinion is allied with Rhun. They're allied with the Dunabar. So Dorwinion's clearly the bad guys of this campaign, right? They're at war with the Bjornings, who are allied with Dale and the Dwarves. So we're not going to ally with the Bjornings. That's just not going to be allowed, which is a bit of a shame because I'd like to go down here and save them. But I think we just have to wait. Our army up here is growing. It's not looking too impressive, but if Dorwinion comes, we can maybe hold the ford here. So I'll get one of my younger governors or commanders. Let's see. Oh, we've got so many. And we'll just get some regular guys. So, speaking of that, yeah, you can come down here. We don't have great troops up here, but I think I'd rather have the Mountain Warband than the Dale Militia, or the Barding Militia. So 7 attack, 19 defense, versus 10 attack, 22 defense. And on snow, I think the combat bonus in the snow is like a +6 or a +7 to attack. Maybe higher than that. So that's pretty substantial, right? So if we can time our attacks, I think we're gonna move you right up there. Let's take both of you out and start getting our armies around where we really want them. And let's see, who's the governor? You're Lord of West Dale? Okay, I mean, that's not awesome. Should probably give it to this guy. It probably doesn't matter. It probably doesn't matter all that much, honestly, because these guys are all kind of bad. Okay, did you march all the way through? Yes. So, this is our force currently. And I do want to leave a sort of a loose governor around. He's an expert governor. And so he can be here to take over when one of these guys dies, because you're mature. You are probably also mature, yes. So they could die, you know, at any time of old age. And here we've got a substantial force as well. All right, let's get a scout somewhere. I think we can train them in Esgaroth. No, we can't. Not yet. Not just yet. Okay, so then we'll use an agent, a cheap agent. We'll use not out of the Dwarven lands. We need every single guy we can get. So I'll send you over here to spy on Holt, and just see what is the size of the Dorwinian army we're looking at here. We can't tell. Okay, they're attacking it from the south. We'll at least be able to know once they take it. And we do have a scout, one scout down here. My gosh. All right, let's go check out the west mid-deeping. So this is a Dunabar, and I can just see that the elves still hold East Lorien, which is really Dol Guldur, right? Like the old Dol Guldur region. We read that after the War of the Ring, Galadriel and the elves of Lorien crossed the river and basically destroyed the old stronghold of Sauron there. So this is still held by the elves, which is good. And, Dorwinion is acting as a bit of a break on Adunabar as well. They're not at war, but because of that, Adunabar is not going to expand up north anymore. At least as long as that alliance holds. So that is kind of a good thing. And great, Eodor is finished with its Outland Dominion. So let us immediately get going here on something. We've got a pretty low population, but that is growing relatively quickly. So I think we got to do control posts. All right, this is going to give us the same relatively unimpressive Barding militia levies, but we're going to have to go with that. It's the literal only thing we can do. And let's see if we can get you around a bit better. Okay, that's a bit better. So we're dealing with a small force initially. So Dorwinion is probably going to take this, but they may, they're at least not going to probably rush away immediately to attack us in Dale, because they will also be bordering this province of the Bjornings, and so they're possibly going to send men through the woods, right? That may be the next thing, or maybe the Bjornings are going to try to come back. So we'll just need to keep our eye on things, and this as well, right? We'll have to see. Like, it's winter, so it's almost tempting to try to hit them right now, but we need them to be a little bit closer, right? So we'll wait for that. Okay, everything else is fine. Still training where we're training, still building where we want to be building. And let's just continue our spy mission. What I want to see is if Adunabar has expanded up the Vales of the Anduin, and they have not. So the Bjornings still currently hold the Greenwood Vales, which is a settlement that's like up about here. And let's in fact check. So Adunabar is not at war with the Bjornings. They are at war with Rohan, so it looks like there's some conflict around the Undeeps, which is interesting to see. But Rohan has expanded in north of the Limelight, so now they own Parth Celebrant. And they may be thinking about taking back this region. So Rohan may become the new power that butts up against Dorwinion. And yeah, so some interesting stuff south of Bern here. It looks like Dorwinion is kind of mobilizing right near Dale. And they're not at war with Dale, but Rhun is. And now we've got an army of Rhun filtering in over here. But Rhun is allied with Dorwinion, so it's very interesting. Like they're going through Dorwinion's territory, and I'm gonna guess that they don't have military access, but okay. All right, we're now training swordsmen, and we've got some attuned governors. Great. So this is all working out pretty well. I do want to check my taxes, and I think I'm going to leave everything on low because we want to make sure the population is going to grow. All right. Yeah, so this siege still developing. Yeah, this does look like a problem here. Dorwinion chomping at the bit, I think, to go for us, but they know they have to go through Dale first. And interestingly, the Bjornings managed to hold out, so I didn't expect that. But it's also interesting to see that Dorwinion is training a lot of our stuff. Obviously, these are coming from places like Gargal and our own homeland territories, which we will get back eventually. But in the meantime, I'm kind of okay with these training with Dorwinion training these troops because they're not that impressive, and they are typically an easier unit for us to defeat. So let's see. Let's throw in some of these swords with this army here. And do we want to take a little bit of time off? I don't think so. Let's get another couple of militia levies, and we'll bring them over here if we need to. We got 3 more seasons before we get control posts of our own. And what I want to get is like one kind of good stack with mostly our native troops. And the road system around here is so good that we could defend in a lot of different directions. But with Dorwinion's attack and hold failing, they don't share a border with us, at least a border that they can make use of. They can't attack across this part of the river. So what do we want to do? I mean, I think we're going to need to maintain a strong force around here that can respond either to Dorwinion or to Dale. And I don't want to go for Dale yet, because if we take this, we're going to be tied down here for a few years. We'll have to defend it from Dorwinion from the south, and then we'll have this gap here as well. So we have to be a little careful because we don't want to overextend. Okay, we've got an earthquake in the eastern wildlands. Where is that? Okay, it's down here. Oh, this was our spy or our emissary. I love the completely over-the-top earthquake animation. Come on, play it again. There we go. Very nice. So we lost a character there, but this is also bad for Dorwinion. Earthquakes are kind of rare events in this mod. But yes. I don't know if the citizens and soldiers killed refers to like all factions who are in the area or just to ours. So it could be that Dorwinion didn't suffer at all from that. Oh my gosh, and Rhun has made it up here. I mean, I guess they could. They, came across the river. So I'm a little worried about what they're going to do to us. Let's just keep an eye on it. I think we could take them out if they attacked the city. We could do another sally out of Eodor and be just fine. But yeah, that's a new development, and Dorwinion is trying again in Holt. All right, so it looks like that army of Rhun is just stubbornly going right for us here. Maybe they're trying to go for Beraz Doom, right? Because they share a border with us now, and I know there is a passage, but the AI may have maybe some trouble navigating that. Let's just check. Yeah, so Dorwinion owns our old capital of Fornhud, and Rhun must own like all of this on the east. So maybe that's what they're doing. They're trying to get up to Beraz Doom to attack it, and that could be a problem for us. We may have some trouble there. I don't know that I want to start a war with them just yet, but we may be kind of forced into it. All right, so City of Dale now has hosting halls finished, so now we can train some nice stuff. Chief's men, let's do it. 200 upkeep is not bad. We're making a decent amount of income let's go for 4 of them. And I think I'm going to move this army a little bit over here. Well, yeah, let's use up all our movement points and just be ready to escort them away, potentially. And I guess we could go for this. Yeah, let's get some more mercenaries. We're still making 3,000, which is great. So now we can probably afford, since we've built up our military completely in Dale, right? We've done all the barracks we can build. Now it's time to look at economy again. And, you know, one thing that we could start working on eventually is these cultural conversion buildings or the alignment buildings eventually can be very lucrative. They're not going to do anything for us just yet. As you can see, all it's going to do is add conversion. And, you know, that's fine, but it's going to take a long time before we actually convert the population here, because just the region itself, the regional building of Dale, is contributing 75% ways of the West. So us building this 25%, not going to bring us any money, and it's not going to change the official alignment, which is actually kind of good, because if it did, we'd be suffering a massive 100% unrest very quickly. But that said, I don't feel like I want to start playing with this just yet. We will instead go on to crop rotation, which is going to give us probably 200 or so. Yeah. Extra income. That's a very nice, easy choice to make. And only 1 season, then we'll have Bardic militia levies down there. And at Erebor, 14 seasons. All right, but we'll get our Outland Dominion in Esgaroth as well. Okay, but yes, yes. Let's do some training in Eodor, so we can. Oh, 1 more season. All right. We're gonna end the season. Next year, we will be able to train out of Eodor. All right. So what's that Rhun army gonna do? Yeah, they're going right for the Iron Hills, you bastards. Okay. You know, maybe we want to go and deal with them sooner rather than later.
Unable to move.
All right, we got some chief's men there. Esgaroth has finished Outland Dominion, so let's build up in Eodor a little bit of that, and let's go to Esgaroth. And nope, I don't want to click the Long Lake. No thanks. So there's a little book that's situated there that gives us a bit of well, the Long Marshes, rather. And then we've got the Long Lake, of course. So these are landmarks, right, that if you click that advisor pop-up, it would tell you a bit about the local area, which is a nice touch. So here you can see the restoration costs have drastically decreased. Merchant Square, still very expensive to repair, but it's not the 26,000 we were seeing earlier. So since we can't do literally anything here yet, let's just go ahead and do that. Repairing that's going to give us another 100. And that, I think, is going to help population growth as well. So that's repairing, and I guess we could go for control posts again, but maybe instead we want to do economy here. Let's do estates and farmlands. That's going to be cheap. This is not going to give us any money right off the bat, but it's going to allow us to establish, I think, wineries here, because yes, we can make wine in Esgaroth, I think. Yes, this is West Dale. And then Dale is a place with livestock. So we'll go for that. And hope that that Rhun doesn't... I mean, maybe they could just filter off and like head back to their own lands, but I think it unlikely. They're probably going to try to hit us. Or maybe they're going for the dwarves, who knows? They seem to pay no attention to Dale, who they are currently at war with. Okay, so Eodor... Yep, let's just keep cranking up the military stuff here. We want to get good stuff, swords, decent type things. And we're spending money, but we've still got about 80,000 in the bank. So I'm feeling pretty secure that way. Let's see. If Dorwinion takes Holt, and they don't, good. That's the thing. I was concerned that we would be having to defend our south against a strong Dorwinion down here, while at the same time dealing with Rhun up here. So I think maybe what we want to do is start this fight with Rhun. It feels like such a waste because, I mean, are we trading with them currently? No, we don't have any diplomatic ties with them. But I don't want them to come all the way over here and where I only have, like, some mountain warband. I don't want to have to deal with with this army with just that. We could probably hold out, but a siege is also going to be very annoying. It's going to halt construction. It's going to cripple our economy. So let's attack Rhun. 521 men. We're attacking in the winter. They get, I think, a slightly stronger, you know, frontline group. They've got certainly more men in that regard. You know, the tough guys. These great axes of Rhun are good, but you know they're going to take losses. But we're fighting in the winter. We are going to have a more versatile army, certainly a larger one overall, and so we should do well here. Now, the thing that I'd love to do is to deal with this little fight and then maybe get back to peace with them. But I think that's probably not going to happen. So, let's see. We've got... This is it for skirmish types. That's great. And what do we got here? The great axes. As always, the AI likes to put them out front, which I hate. So we're going to instead put them at the back. And we've got barding, watch levies in the front. Okay, I think that's fine. Group everybody for ease of maneuverability. And where are they going to be? Probably in these woods. Yeah, kind of, on that hill. Alright, but I don't think they have any ranged stuff. So again, we're fighting in the snow. We're going to get some nice melee bonuses. We've got some ranged. We've got some cav. They don't really have any of that. Of course, they do have, you know, some axes. They've got some warband. They've got some spears. And they've probably got another unit over here that I can't see now. But yeah, this is a war that I don't really want because I don't want to have to defend the extreme northeast of my territory as well as the south and the southwest. But I think that's just the reality. At least, you know, we will have a lot of time to detect any sudden attack. Alright, so speaking of time, let's just halt here. Get our longbows firing. Their captain unit is Eastland Raiders, so this is going to be a soft little target for our longbows. And we can goad them into attacking us. Let's bring our generals back here. Get them out of the group just to make things a bit easier. Okay, so they're going to bunch up in the trees, but they don't have any answer to our arrows. So their answer is going to be melee. So we'll war cry. Spearmen of Rhun, don't need that. Alright, let's throw them all in. And let's see how good this snow advantage really is. Alright, this is going to be a fairly even matchup, except for the snow. So we're outnumbered in terms of unit per unit here. They've got the advantage in that regard. I guess we can use the watch levies for outflanking. Let's get our generals around this way. And the thing about Warcry is I always time it wrong, because by the time these guys get into where they can actually fight, their Warcry is worn off. Okay, these are Axemen of Rhun. Let's just keep the generals there. You guys can crash down on this. You guys can crash down on that. Alright, let's now kind of sag with the levies. And let's hit in here. This is probably not ideal. We're going to maybe lose some generals here. They're wavering, though. And there they go. Great. All right, let's get our guys around to the back. Let's go right after their general. Warcry with the left and hit the side. We're not going to need to do that because they're crumbling. All right, let's get the levies over here. Attack their general with our free levies hidden in the woods on the right. Their line is gone. Again, we may take some losses among our generals unit, but they're a stronger unit overall, and there we go.
Now hunt them down.
A nice little fight in the woods. All right, so we'll just end this up and get back to the campaign map. Now, we lost about 50 men in that engagement. We did get a new retinue, And Ulfast the Hunter has acquired the War Chief title. So he's going to be more in charge of battles, which is not necessarily what I want because he's actually a poor commander, and these guys are actually competent. So let's actually change that. We can give one of these better generals the title. It's Gold Giver. Oh, that's good. +2 morale. Attacker. Accommodating, extra morale. All right, let's switch it over here because he's a poor governor, whereas this guy is competent, and I may end up using him in a city at some point. So let's give you the War Chief ancillary. And so now Blood of the Northern Highlands is going to be the one in charge. And maybe we'll have to take him in and out. There we go. Now he's commanding, and all of his troops are going to benefit from that. So that's the advantage of the titles, right? It doesn't make him actually a better commander per se, but it means that the guy you want to fight is going to be the guy you want to lead is going to be the one actually leading the fight. Okay, 7,000 income. So let's go to Esgaroth, and yeah, we can go for wineries right off the bat. That's going to make us, let's see, ooh, not a ton of trade, not a ton. Maybe 40 extra, and we're going to be losing about 20. Eventually, this will even out, right, as we get more markets and as we expand our trade routes and stop bordering enemies that are hostile or not trading with us. Jeez, do I want to bother with that right now then? I guess we could go like consultation, because the thing that's preventing us from building... well, actually, no. Consultation is only really going to be necessary for some of these buildings, like the Hall of Feasts and so on. So maybe I don't need to worry about that just yet. And I don't need Execution Square because you can see we don't have any corruption. This is going to give us a law bonus. And it's basically going to have the anti-corruption effect, not the public order effect. So, I mean, this might be nice. This is going to be another just solid 200. So just farming. We're going to be tillers of the earth. That's what we'll do. Okay, and so we've seen off the very suspicious army of Rhun. We've got an agent here. I kind of want another agent. Let's get one out of Esgaroth because we've retrained. Ooh, let's get one of each. And maybe we'll send a diplomat over to Rhun and see if we can smooth things over. I think it's probably unlikely because they own Gwaithring. Now, we could go and try to, or yeah, I think Gwaithring is the settlement around here. We could go and try to get it back, but it will border Dorwinion, so we only want to do that when we're ready to kind of like keep going. And right now, I think Vera's Doom, I think it's fine, because for them to even attack it, if they come from the north, they're going to have to come all the way over here, and that's not too far out of reach. So we can have our armies right about there. Let's start bringing the chief's men and join you to the force. This is going to be a nice little addition. And let's see, Barding militia levies. We've got one everywhere. Let's get another one here, and let's bring another one down to Eodor. We're getting a cheeky demand from Rhun demanding our overlordship. This is where we could cheese the game a little bit and you know, counteroffer for like a demand of, yeah, we'll be your vassal, but give us, you know, a ridiculous amount of money. And they would, but then the next turn they'd get it back, right? So this is almost always a bad idea. No real reason to accept. Well, let's see if we can get a bit of peace with Rhun then. Let's try ceasefire, trade rights, and just go with that. They're gonna, yeah, they're going to just deny. No real reason to even try it at this point because we share a border, unfortunately. What we could do is break that border, right? We could go over here, take the settlement, and then give it to like the dwarves or something, and then we wouldn't share a border, and then they would probably accept a ceasefire. I don't want to do that. That's a great move if you want to ultimately you know, wall yourself off from a faction and control diplomacy a bit more. But I do want to get Gwaithring and hold it at some point, so I'm not going to bother with that kind of silliness right now. We do have a spy that I've been neglecting who's over here around Woldburg and Lathron. Not too much has changed over here, though. It looks like Adunabar has not really made any moves to the north, and Rohan has not made any moves towards Adunabar, so that's a little bit unfortunate. What I could do is get them down to check out how things are going around Ithilien, because there could be some conflict with the Rhenetic Kingdom that might be interesting to see. All right, I am seeing something that's a little alarming, though, and that is there is a siege of Hjorth. So let's get one of my scouts just to see who's doing that. It is Dale. All right. So, unfortunately, we can't reach them this turn. Next turn we can. It won't be winter, but I think we've got a strong enough force that we could send them away. So they're trying to take this back. You know, in a way, I wouldn't mind taking it from Dale rather than from the rebels, simply because Dale is probably going to be weaker than the rebels if and when they finally do take it. So maybe we'll wait for either a winter season or just when Dale goes in, weaken themselves, and then we can swoop in and take it. Because I think we could defend this and hold out against Framsburg for a while, and probably we could even go to Framsburg. But we're gonna need more troops. So let's keep going on the economy here now. Eodor is the only place we can build right now, and well, I guess we'll get a few swords going. And we can't go higher on the military because we don't have the urban province. But, you know, honestly, we are doing okay with the economy. So I think I can risk it. We're up over 100,000 without even really trying that hard. And that's going to cost us around 10 grand. But this is actually going to increase our income. So the way I know this is this tells me that the minor province, what we're currently at, is making us a land tax revenue of 30. Whatever that means, it's a multiplier or something. It's making us a certain amount of land tax. This is going to make us more than that. So we get the urban province, and we're going to see this number go up. Now, for some reason, that doesn't display on the settlement details scroll as an increase, but it will be an increase. Currently, we're making 316. In 10 turns, this should be higher. I am never in a million years going to remember to check this number and compare it against 316, but maybe if you have a better memory than I, you can see what that looks like in about 5 years game time. Well, down around minus Honor or Osgiliath in this region, we are seeing some interesting stuff, I guess. The region of North Ithilien, minus Ithil, has been taken by the Reunited Kingdom. They still hold minus Honor, Caer Andros, but Harondor has moved up and taken Emin Arnin from Adunabar, who starts off with this. So that is interesting. Adunabar is probably going to be, yes, weakened. So Daggerlad is owned by the Reunited Kingdom. Adunabar has the Brown Lands, a little fort here, I guess, and they've got Lathron too, but probably not going to have that for too much longer. They've not been able to expand farther to the north, and unless they can shut out the Reunited Kingdom and beat them back, the Reunited Kingdom is going to be the strong force, which is kind of fitting because, you know, I'm playing a, you know, kind of a bad guy faction in some sense. You know, you're playing North Rhun, you don't want to just be fighting other Easterlings all the time. You want to be fighting the Reunited Kingdom or, you know, the quote good guys, I imagine. So it's set up so that when you're playing a faction like that, you're more likely to face, you know, maybe more slightly lore-appropriate enemies. Well, Hjorth has fallen to Dale. Looks like they managed to hold on to most of their troops, but looking at them, they are all woodland types. So these are the woodmen, spears, you know, very low-tier units. You know, still respectable in some ways. Certainly our generals wouldn't want to tangle with them. But you can see low armor, fairly squishy. A couple units of woodmen riders. These are pretty strong, actually. They've got some axemen. They've also got a unit of bowmen. So, you know, a decent mix here, but nothing that's too strong. So I think that we can just go ahead, drop this under siege, build up a few rams, and then either wait for them to sally or move in at some point. Now, they're probably going to hit us, actually, with a family member in the next turn, so we're probably going to get a defensive fight here, which is actually a little annoying because I'd rather not fight, you know, in the spring, but they may force the issue. All right, so this is actually a very important turn for us. We've completed some building. City of Dale has finished whatever we were building before. I guess it'll tell us here. Yeah, crop rotation, so that's very nice. More importantly, though, Barez Doom has finished constructing the Eastern Wilderland province, which is right here, yes. So now we've got Manish recruitment. We've still got almost 2,000 population. This is still decreasing, but now we can start to build things that will arrest that decrease. And so we want to get going on that quickly. I think the goal should be the fastest thing we can build to give us population growth. Not going to be animal fights, but it's going to be either the market, that's 5 turns, that gives us an extra, I guess, 0.5, or is that going to give us an extra 1? Let's see, we're at 99.5, so 100. So it's going to give us 0.5%. That's going to zero it out. Herbalist, though, might be the thing. Hall of Drinking gives us happiness, but the Herbalist is going to give us growth. So let's see. Yes, that's going to actually give us another 0.5. It's going to cost some upkeep, so about 100, let's say. Because of that upkeep cost, our income is going down, and therefore the mismanagement is going down. It's not actually adding a law bonus or anything. But I think that's worth it to level out our population decline and then start actually increasing it, and then we can get stuff like our hillmen levies. Now, these are not a terribly exciting unit, and we certainly don't want to drain the population training them, but it'll allow us at least to get on that road. So how many tiers? Let's see, before things get interesting. So hillmen axe levies, tier 2. This is going to be, yeah, this is what we want. Axe throwing axe guys. I love this unit card. They look really cool. So we're definitely going to train them. And then tier 3, of course, we're going to go for the Easterling axe hurlers with swords that they use in melee for stabbing and slashing, and axes that they throw. Good armor, so this is not that far away. But rather than build up to those units while our population plummets, we want to build up our population as fast as we can so we can actually train more of them and make more money while that's happening. Okay, and then let's see. Here in Dale itself, we're kind of running out of stuff to do. Population is stable, and maybe that's okay. Let's go for husbandry and fishing rights. We'll get some industry going. And yes, I haven't neglected to notice that Bodvar of West Dale is sneaked in here. The ruler, actually, of the chiefdom of Dale. Does he have a son here? Yes, okay. This is a noble. It's not like the son, necessarily. So maybe I want to leave Hjorth and maybe kind of like trick them into building it up a little bit. Let's do it. Let's get out of here. We'll deal with them like next turn. I don't want to send my guys after their king just yet. I don't have good stuff. I don't want to lose a general. But we will get him cornered and then see if they empty Hjorth. They'll be building up their own stuff there as well. And we can get this back. I think we'll be totally fine. Dorwinian still doesn't have Holt. Nothing to worry about. Oh my gosh, except that giant army of Rhun that just appeared next to Eodor. Oh, that stinks. Okay. Okay, so we're not done training Chief's men. Let's get a few more of them. And let's get some more swords out of Eodor, I think. Actually, let's get a couple of spears. And then 2 swords. Man. They're going to go for Berez Doom, aren't they? This is Gan of the Eastland Strand. This is very frustrating. Okay. Well, I think we got to move in this direction. This guy is not a huge threat. This is, so we'll send our army immediately to the east. We are going to get some chief's men, and we could go against them and see how it goes. But I don't really care. I don't care about the King of Dale. He's not doing anything. He's got no men with him. It's just not worth the bother, I think. So let's see what else we can build in Dale itself. Yeah, we can go for horse breeders or tanneries and wool makers. And I think tanneries and wool makers, right? Like, not like we're going to get anything awesome out of Dale itself, but this is going to make their armor better. So eventually we will get that. This is going to cost us a tiny bit of upkeep, but it's also going to increase our trade by about 100. So I think that's well worth it. In Esgaroth, let's go ahead. We are growing. Oh, that's right. We're building farms. We're not building any military stuff there. Okay, fair enough. And yeah, Eodor is doing, I guess, everything that it can do. So we'll just see what they do. If Rhun is going to press on to the Iron Hills, which I suspect they will, Dale is just going to make a fort. All right. Oh, it's so frustrating because we could go back and take Hjorth next turn because they got an army standing outside of that. Like we could hit this army and then the reinforcements would show up, or we could do stuff like put their king under siege in the fort for 3 seasons, You know, and that... I feel like we could almost take Hjorth with these forces, but not quite. So we'll wait. They're being very compliant. They're not besieging us or anything. Losing a little bit of cash in this building, but not really a threat. So I guess we've done our economy. Let's go for control posts. We are going to need more men than I was thinking. So let's go up here. Let's get on the mountain if we can. And then next winter we'll hit them with an attack. Another overlordship demand. No, we're not having any of it. Let's see, is Dale going to do anything now? Doesn't look like it. They're just moving their generals around oddly. Making camps next to the border. You can see they're acting much more defensively, right? They're not going for us. And here we do have an opportunity to hit a big army of Rhun. So I think that's what we'll do. We'll queue that up anyway. And this is going to be a winter fight. It should be a good one for us. And this will be what we'll face next season. Oh my gosh, they're going to be easy prey indeed. Look at this. All tier 1. I guess archers are tier 2. But they've only got one of those. They've got a general who is, let's see, he's old. That means he's going to be worse in terms of hit points. He is a wary fighter, so that's going to kind of make up for it. But I think we're going to have a fun, easy time with this battle. So that's what we're going to look forward to at the beginning of the next episode, folks. Cleaning out this army of Rhun. And I don't see any others approaching. Once that's done, maybe we can get a bit of a chance to turn our attentions back west. And we're building up enough forces in Eodor, actually, that I could have taken that army out with this. I didn't know what they had. I should have looked. But Eodor is becoming strong. And we've got, theoretically, 2 strongish armies now that can deal with threats in the east and in the west. And so that's going to be the focus of the next episode. Getting rid of Rhun and then adding Hjorth to our realm. And then possibly pushing west to take Framsburg as well. So I hope you join me for that. Until then, take care.